All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to episode number 1 of the Steelers Offseason Steel City Renegades. You got myself, you got Chipper. How you doing today, Chipper?
Good morning. Off-season has officially begun for the Steelers.
All right, and then we got Deez here with the coolest hat that I've seen in a long time. Deez, how you doing, buddy?
Good. What's going on, fellas? Look, I'm just getting in the spirit of things because the Steelers are a fucking circus owned by and coached by a couple of fucking clowns. So here we are.
Here we are. Yes, exactly. That is where we are with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we knew the outcome was going to be for the playoff game and another abysmal loss by the Steelers team. And now we're talking about off season. Do you think in 2024, Chipper, that the Steelers overexceeded their expectations?
No, because I think at the beginning of the season, we all picked them to finish 10-7, 9-8. However, when we were 10-3 going into the last month of the season, we were looking good at being 12-5 or maybe even 11-6. But then they shit themselves and ended up like we projected, 10-7, just like always.
Deez, what about yourself?
Looking at the schedule going in, I was probably in the same ballpark. I think I might have gave them more 11 to 12 wins. So, but then most of them thought we were going to finally have a losing season. So in the grand scheme of things, we exceeded most expectations, but the manner in which they did it was just an absolute train wreck. So yeah, huge letdown. Like regardless of what we thought at the beginning of the season, whether it was 10 wins, 12 wins, there's no way to look at this season and view it in any way, shape, or form as a success.
We beat Cincinnati and win one of the other games at the end of the season. We do end up finishing 12-5, but because we shit ourselves against Cincinnati and those other games like Philadelphia and Baltimore, we end up like we expected, 10-7.
Yeah, I didn't expect us to have a great outcome this year. I think that this year was another abysmal year for us. Chipper's right. We did talk about at the beginning of the year about what the record would be. And again, we're stuck here in purgatory with this coaching staff because nothing major is going to change. There was a call made to the Steelers from the Chicago Bears about Mike Tomlin. I guess talks didn't go anywhere besides just a phone call and whatnot. And we're stuck with Mike Tomlin for another 2 years. So we'll see what happens this offseason. We got a lot of decisions to make. And what is your guys' thoughts about players to bring back and who not to bring back? Deez, who are you bringing back? Who is on your do not bring back list for the Steelers free agency wise?
Well, I mean, there's the obvious answers, which like Dan Moore, he's gone. Van Jefferson hit the bricks. Russ, sayonara. Naj, look, I'm pro Naj. Like, is he a first rounder? Probably not. But he runs hard. The offensive line, I think, failed him. I think the scheme failed him. And I think that he could go to a team right now and be a dominant running back. But he's probably gone. And I don't know what kind of money he's going to command, but I think we have more pressing needs that are going to need to be addressed. And you can go into the draft. The draft class this year for running backs is just loaded. So despite my personal like for Naj, I think you let him go unless he agrees to come back on a substantial discount, and that's not happening. who else was there? James Daniels is probably he's gone. The report is now that like he basically hasn't been with the team at all since his injury. So I think the writing's on the wall there. As far as the quarterback situation, did you want me to get into this right now, or
you can go ahead and get into it right now? Go ahead.
in my opinion, look, there's only one answer to our quarterback situation. Some people might like it, some people aren't going to like it, but it has to be Justin Fields.
So you're saying out of all the free agents that are out there, and
Justin fucking Fields.
Okay.
No Sam Darnold. No, it's Justin Fields, and here's why. Justin Fields has been, I would say, in the eyes of most, a disappointment in terms of where he was drafted. However, he was drafted by a shit organization, which I happen to live very close to, with shit coaches. He had, 3 offensive systems in Chicago and now another one in Pittsburgh. The pure athletic talent that Justin Fields possesses is off the charts, like elite level, Lamar Jackson-esque when Lamar first came into the league. It's not quite all up here yet. Still needs to work on some of his, touch passes and things of that nature. But the way I see it is this: you can get Justin Fields fairly cheap when it comes to starting quarterbacks. I think even if you went on the high side, I think you could get Justin Fields for 2, maybe 3 years, depending on how good his agent is, for about 20 mil per. But the reason that it has to be Justin Fields is there's so much potential there, and he might be held back by Tomlin, but we'll have to wait and see. But you have to find out, like, is this a franchise quarterback? He's only going to be 26 years old. Like, there's a long time that Justin can be around this league. Tell me the bad part about giving the keys to Justin Fields. You bring in a vet, but not a vet that's a starter. You don't bring fucking Russ with him. You don't bring Kirk Cousins. You don't bring Sam Darnold. You bring a guy that's been around that might be a competent backup, and you put all of your eggs in the Justin Fields basket, and you say, here are the keys. Show us what you got. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you're going to figure one of 2 things out. And maybe if you're tied to him for 2 years, you're in 2 years. You figure out, is he the guy? If he's not, what's it set back? What's the setback? A couple years? I mean, we've done nothing for the last fucking 8 anyway. and let's be honest. Worst case scenario, he struggles a little bit. Somehow the man who made a fucking deal with the devil, Mike Tomlin, still squeaks out 9 or 10 wins. We get blown out in the first round, and we're, no harm, no foul. But if you give him a few weapons and you let Arthur Smith do what he wants to do with this offense, because I really think he was handcuffed by Russ not being able to see over the middle of the field. And I also think Tomlin has that whole, don't take chances thing. If you give him the keys, you let Arthur coach the guy that he wanted to coach, maybe, just maybe, we have a superstar in the making at quarterback. And if you don't, again, what do we got to lose? We're either going to be disappointed by struggling through the season and losing in the first round after paying big money for Sam Darnold or Russ or whoever, or we're going to be disappointed next year when we lose in the playoffs because we might have overpaid for somebody who isn't quite as good as we thought. Either way, it's the same situation.
I totally agree with you about signing Fields. He hasn't actually had the opportunity to show what he can do. I mean, like you said, he got drafted by a shitty Chicago Bears team, so he didn't really get an opportunity to show exactly what he can do behind a good offensive line or with a good offensive system. And then this year, this season, behind Artie's fine offensive scheme of wanting to run the ball all the time and then throw the ball, he didn't get to play hardly at all this year, except for those first 6 games, which he proved he can do the job. So yeah, I'm totally cool with the Justin Fields thing for like 2 or 3 years, and next year he gets the keys, and if by some chance it doesn't look good, then in 2026 2026 draft, that's where we go and draft our franchise quarterback.
Yeah. And to William's point, hey, maybe Justin fucking sucks. And we do only win 4 or 5 games. And then guess what? We have a top pick that we can address the quarterback. You know,
listen, I mean, I know that we have talked about this tirelessly throughout the end of the season and whatnot with our quarterback situation. We know that's not a good quarterback situation right now. But Deez, I agree with you. Chipper, I agree with you. We've seen what Justin Fields can do with decent weapons around him, especially in Chicago. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. He had Khalil Herbert as his running back. What was the other wide receiver's name? Mooney. He played decently out there. I mean, if you give him some good weapons around him, Justin can hold down the fort for 2 to 3 years. You go draft a quarterback maybe in a later round this year. Go get yourself a veteran quarterback that is out there. Again, not Russ, not Allen, who's behind him, bringing a whole new room. They did sign Skylar Thompson this week for some odd reason, just to have a quarterback on the roster or whatever. I mean, he does have some pro experience. Is he a backup quarterback? Absolutely not. If you want Justin to be successful, you have to go sign a veteran backup, probably I wouldn't mind a Joe Flacco just to bring him in for, some guidance, maybe a Carson Wentz, maybe.
I know. No. I totally disagree with that. You don't bring the most starter experience that I want behind him is a guy like Kyle Allen, somebody that has done it. And that maybe if everybody else plays good enough, you might squeak out a win or two if Justin's got to miss, a short amount of time. But the way I see it, it's fucking all or nothing. If Justin can't do it, you leave him in there and you just let the chips fall where they may and address it in the offseason. Because, again, it's no different than what we've dealt with every year. You do not leave a quarterback on the bench that gives anybody in that office or anybody in that stadium something to root for. I'm tired of that because all you're doing is you're working against yourself.
Well, how is that working against yourself to make your quarterback situation, your backup quarterback situation, a little bit better than what it was this year?
Because this is Pittsburgh, and the first time Fields goes out there and starts laying an egg, guess what you're going to hear in the stands? Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco. They're going to want one of these guys to come in because one time 4 years ago, they had a great game. And then you have now shattered this potential superstar quarterback. You fucking put him in there and you ride him till the wheels fall off, or he takes us to the promised land.
The one issue that with this whole scenario is you wanted Justin Fields to be the starting quarterback, and you want him to be in this system. Who the hell is he going to throw to?
Well,
there's that problem too.
I mean, seriously, who's he going to throw to?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's that problem too. But
if they decide to trade George Pickens, let him go by the wayside. Well, we're still screwed because now we don't have any wide receivers at all.
Well, that's why we talk about this on this show and whatnot, what our free agents are and whatnot, and who we could possibly get down the line. I mean, T. Higgins' name has been thrown around a lot, linked to the Steelers. It's been thrown around a lot, and you know that. I think it was the first or second day of spring or free agency. Patrick Queen, who was a AFC North player or Baltimore Raven, signed really quick with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to have to spend money on offense this year. They're going to have to spend money. If you're going with Justin Fields, you have to spend money on offense.
I'm not arguing that fact.
You're going to have to give him some shiny new toys that are out there, whether it's to pair it with George Pickens or trade Pickens. You're going to have to do it. One thing I seen this week on Twitter, Pittsburgh offer Pickens to the Jets, even up for what's his name?
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, even up.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
So would I. But I mean, I don't know.
Think the Jets will, but
getting back into the quarterback situation, I think it's got to be Justin. If it's not Justin, it definitely cannot be Russ. After that, I mean, people may not like this. You try to go get a franchise quarterback who's in their early 20s and trying to rejuvenate themselves or whatnot and put them in this offense and see what they can do. Because
right.
That's a very good question. That's a good question. Would you do this, Deez or Chipper? Let me ask you this. if Sam Darnold does not sign with Minnesota, are you calling Minnesota about J.J. McCarthy and say, hey, we'll give you a first-round draft pick for him?
I don't know about a first. I
Because
can't
that's what it's
give
going
up
to
a
take.
first.
Because he was a first-round draft pick. That's
Well, I understand that, but yeah. I mean, at 20, the 21 pick for JJ McCarthy and nothing else,
yes.
I might do that. Might. But a lot of it's gonna I wouldn't today, would I do that? No. I need to go through free agency and see what pieces I can pick up in free agency. And if I can plug some holes that I may have been looking at the draft, then maybe I make that call.
Okay, so
if I can't plug those holes and I know that I have to address them in the draft, then no, I ride with whatever. I'll go into next season with fucking Kyle Allen as my starter if it means that we tank out and get a chance at Manning or whoever. I don't know who else is even in the class. I'm not sure Manning's in the class next year, but
he would be. Yeah, he would be.
Here's a list of our free agents that we have for this year. Starting at quarterback, all three of our quarterbacks are free agents. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Kyle Allen. Who are you bringing back on that list? You all agree Justin Fields?
Yeah.
And I'm not against Kyle Allen either.
Okay, no. Kyle Allen. No. So he's a possibility. Running back situation, both of our running backs are free agents. Who are you bringing back, Najee Harris or Jalen Warren?
Jalen's not a free agent.
It's on his list right here for the Steelers. He's a restricted free agent.
Yeah, but so he'll be back.
Okay, so they have him on their list on the Steelers website.
So are you saying that you're not willing to sign Justin Fields for a 2 or 3 year deal? That you will look to trade?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you're trade Minnesota for JJ McCarthy instead of keeping Justin Fields.
So if you cannot sign Justin Fields,
okay, all
right. Because you should know by now. You had your season-ending exit meetings. You should know by now as a quarterback if they're interested in you or not. You should be on the phone to your agent if they're interested in you.
I just wanted to be clear as what you're talking about as far as the situation, because we were talking about signing Justin Fields for 2 or 3 years, and then you threw out possibly trading for JJ McCarthy.
If you cannot sign Justin Fields, you need somebody who's a younger quarterback. And I'm going to throw this out there. If you're looking for a fresh start, maybe a Trevor Lawrence or Kyler Murray, Justin Fields are all looking for fresh starts. We agree that Justin Fields still looking for a fresh start, right? That all depends on if Arthur Smith is back with the Steelers next year, because he's linked to some jobs. He's had interviews with some.
Please take him.
I mean, was he the problem? Was Arthur Smith the problem again? Because we all know that Tomlin he needs yes men. And he wasn't.
I don't think Arthur is I'm not a huge fan of that offense, but I'll put it this way. I think if Justin Fields ran that offense, I think over time he could have done better than what Russ ended up doing as far as consistency.
Do you think that Artie would adjust his philosophy, play calling to suit Justin Fields, or is Artie one of those guys? Hey, this is my system. This is the way we're gonna run 60% of the time and pass 40% of the time. We're gonna run the ball 60% with a clodhopper named Najee Harris or some other running back.
But okay, we don't have Najee Harris under contract right now, so we're assuming he's coming back, right? That's what you're assuming.
Okay, sure.
So if we go out and get different running back, 2 different wide receivers, and have Justin Fields out there, and you run the Arthur Smith offense the way that he'd like to run it with Justin Fields, because he wasn't an advocate of Mike Tomlin making the change at quarterback. He wanted to stick with Justin Fields. And I was watching some film. The Steelers were better this year with Justin Fields in the red zone than they were with Russell Wilson.
Right.
So why would you not give Justin Fields the opportunity to have a full year underneath that Arthur Smith offense and just give him the keys to the ship and go get him 2 studs at wide receiver? And we admit George Pickens is a stud, but he's a head case. And the Steelers said that they're willing to bring in a veteran wide receiver who will calm him down, or a veteran coach that would calm him down. It's about getting him the football. They all go. I don't think he's got to go. I think you can fix him. But if you can get a trade that can knock your socks off, like a Garrett Wilson, okay, I'm good with that. Or go get yourself a stud wide receiver to replace that. But as we're talking right now, he is the best offensive player on our team right now. right now going into next season.
Sure.
If we don't make any trades or whatnot, he is the best offensive player right now.
That's really not saying much, but
You're right. You're right. But that's who we have to deal with right now is George Pickens until he's either traded or whatnot. Even there is a possibility of him coming back this year and getting franchise tagged or them trying to trade next year to get a better quarterback. There's that possibility, but I'm okay with giving Justin Fields the keys to the ship. But but going
back to my question though, will Artie adjust his philosophy, his play calling to fit Justin Fields, or is he going to be one of those hard asses
of the season?
Or he's going to be one of those hard asses? This is my system. This is what the system is. We're a run first team. We're going to run 60% of the time and throw 40% of the time.
But I don't think that's as much Arthur Smith as much as it is the other guy.
But didn't he do it in Tennessee though?
Yeah, but he also had Derrick Henry and a really good play action passer in Ryan Tannehill.
Correct.
I think he's been around the league long enough that, when you've got a guy like Justin Fields, you do adjust a little bit. In fact, I mean, they ran some of it out of necessity with the bootlegs and everything. Could you imagine Justin running those bootlegs? Like, Justin ain't getting caught 5 yards deep on a bootleg and throwing it 30 yards out of bounds. If Justin gets outside on a bootleg, he's fucking gone, or somebody's going to come open. I think Arthur Smith, while his offense might be a little bit antiquated, I also think that a part of it is Mike Tomlin saying, "Run, you got to run here. It's first down. You got to run here. You got to run the ball. Don't turn the ball over." And I think that Justin could have benefited by watching this team and learning this offense and all the intricacies of it. And I'll give credit where credit's due. Russell's leadership abilities. I'd like to think that Justin could pick up a little bit on that. Justin's 6'4", 220, 230, and probably one of, if not the fastest quarterbacks in the league. The only one I might put ahead of him right now would be Jaden.
You don't think Lamar's faster than him?
No question. Lamar's got some good wiggle, but as far as flat out speed, you put him in a race right now, Justin smokes Lamar.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Justin's
fucking fast. So yeah, is Arthur the ideal OC? Probably not, but I think it's more of Mike Tomlin has to just kind of sit back and let his coordinator coordinate and worry about the failures of his defense. If your defense is so fucking great, then who cares whether or not you take risks on offense, because that's what your defense is paid more than any other defense in the league to do, and that's go out and get stops and get turnovers. So let Arthur cook, with Justin.
Well, that's the other problem is that we get highest paid defense in the league, and they shit themselves the last month and a half or so of the season.
Yeah, like everybody, Terrell Lawson's got to be fired. Who fucking cares? I mean, somebody's head needs to roll, but at the end of the day, is it going to matter?
Okay, so we'll get back into the free agency here real quick. Wide receiver Mike Williams, you bring him back?
No.
Van Jefferson, you bring him back?
No.
Scotty Miller.
Oh, that's right. He's on the roster.
Let me save you a little bit of time. Every name that you're going to list on our wide receiver list, the answer is no.
Even Ben Skoranek?
The answer is special teams, maybe, yes.
Okay,
you keep Calvin Austin. You obviously keep George.
I'm going by what these free agents are. So tight end, Michael.
No.
Okay.
No.
Offensive tackle Dan Moore, Calvin.
Nope.
Guards James Daniels, Nate Herbig, and Max Schapperling or whatever.
I forgot about Nate Herbig.
Do you bring them back? Any one of them?
I think if you get Nate back at, vet minimum or not much more than that, because he brings if he stays healthy. I mean, he was penciled in to be our starter. We may not have seen Frazier this year if Herbig doesn't get hurt. So I would look into bringing Herbig back, because it makes Nick happy, and B, he can back up your three interior positions. He can play guard or center.
That's who I had circled on
quality backup there.
That's who I had circled on my list to bring back. Okay, so defensive line, Isaiah Loudermilk. You bring him back?
I mean, for me, it depends on what
Not before shopping around.
Okay, Jeremiah Moon, you bring him back?
No.
Why?
Just asking. Inside linebacker, Landon Roberts or Tyler Minikevich?
I like Landon Roberts. He's a hell of a run stopper. And
I
hitter.
try and bring them both back for their respective strengths. That being the run stuffing of Roberts, and Redbeard is a solid special teamer.
Okay, so that's 4 people on the free agent list that you said that we were bring back. Fields, Herbig, and Atlanta Robertson, Minikevich, or 5, maybe Skoranek. All right, now our safety, DeMonte Casey, would you bring him back?
Cheap. If I can get him vet minimum because he knows the defense and occasionally he makes a play, yeah, for depth.
Okay, these probably might all be no's. Chipper, Dante Jackson, you bringing him back?
Yeah, he had a good year as a quarterback, sure. But then you also have to draft one.
D's, are you bringing Dante Johnson back?
Jackson? Yeah, I think I would. Again, I'm not going to write his name down in ink as my starter. But I really think he played very well until he got hurt. And I think after he came back from the injury, he just wasn't quite the same. So yeah, he's not a no. I'll just put it that way.
Okay, Chipper's favorite Steeler, 2 favorite Steelers coming up. Cam Sutton.
Oh, of course you bring him back.
D's, do you bring Cam Sutton back?
I mean, surely they need some help with the vending, selling beer, popcorn, something.
I'm talking about on the active roster every week. Do you bring?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, we know Dave will want to bring him back.
I absolutely do not want to bring him back.
Those 4 jerseys of his that
I'll tell you what, I would go get Ike Taylor as he stands right now over Cam Sutton.
I'll take Justin Gilbert over Cam Sutton.
I'll take Joe Hayden right now over Cam Sutton.
All right, so CJ Henderson.
Who?
He was on the Steelers roster, didn't play.
He spent most of the year on the practice squad, I believe.
Okay. CJ Henderson.
I have no idea who it is, so that I have to say no.
Yeah, I mean, again, vet minimum, put him on the roster and see, what if he can provide anything for depth. But he's not a, oh my God, yes, let's re-sign him. It's if he's there and we haven't improved in other areas, hey, yeah, come back to camp and see what you got.
All right, and last but not least, another one of Chipper's favorites, Tomlin's favorites, James Pierre.
Oh, between him and Cam Sutton, how can you not bring them both back, for crying out loud? Oh, both are studs.
D's, are you bringing them back?
Again, vet minimum type deal, knowing that he's let me finish. God damn it. Knowing that he's no more than a 4 or a 5 spot in the corner, you might sign him to vet minimum and not even guarantee him a roster spot through camp, because clearly you're going to address this in the draft. So yeah, vet minimum, come back to camp. If you can prove that you can still play, you can, because he can do special teams as long as he's not asked to catch a fake punt.
Correct.
And, in a pinch, when people are hurt, he knows the scheme, even though he might, get burnt every now and then. At least he'll be somewhere in the area of the right place. Probably won't make the play, but he's not a hard no. Let's just put it that way.
I'm surprised Dave doesn't want to bring him back, because he's got like 5 James Pierre jerseys in his closet.
For you people that's listening, Chipper's being sarcastic. I hate him. Anytime we say that they're your boy or you got jerseys, we're not a fan of them. All right, real quick.
One thing I do want to bring up real quick about who to bring back and who not to bring back as far as free agents go. One of our glaring problems is that we did not have depth at the defensive back position. So at some point, whether we keeping a couple of these guys that are currently on the roster, or obviously shopping around in free agency, picking up other guys, that's going to have to be addressed, because the depth at defensive backs kind of hurt us.
Okay, so here we go. We got the Steelers' highest paid players ranking from 1 through 10. We'll see who you'll bring back. TJ Watt, are you bringing him back? Because there's a lot of
talk. and I would literally spit in anybody's face who suggests otherwise.
All right, well, he's making $30.4 million for next year.
He's he's in a contract year. I mean, they're going to re-sign him this offseason. So I would imagine that number might be reworked a little bit. But yeah, TJ's back. There's just no world where he's not.
Minka Fitzpatrick making $22.3 million for this year coming up.
Slippery slope here. Chipper, I'll let you, and then I'll go.
I would entertain trade offers for him.
Okay, so if you're entertaining trade offers, what is a good trade offer for him? If you're doing it for draft picks, what kind of value do you think he brings? He's still 28 years old. You got to remember that.
I don't know that you can get a first round for him, but you can definitely get a second rounder and maybe a third or even a fourth. So either a second round and a third or fourth.
In this year's draft or upcoming drafts?
Got to be this year's, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. You know, the second rounder definitely this year. The third or fourth rounder, I guess I could live with, next year.
All right, Dees, go ahead.
I would like Minka to come back. I might look into a restructure, but they have to let him be Minka. Mm-hmm. And if you go back and watch a lot of like the all 22, Minka's not even in fucking frame most of the time. Like, I don't know why. And granted, no, we didn't get beat deep, but that's because Tomlin had Minka playing 30 yards off the ball almost every play. There were a few times where they started to walk him up a little bit, and everybody was like, well, Minka's not making plays, not making plays. That's because Minka's playing center field just to make sure nobody gets beat deep. And I thought that he did a pretty decent job of it most of the year. So if Tomlin is willing to get his 20 million or whatever it is out of him and let Minka be Minka, and let Minka do the things that earned Minka that contract, absolutely you bring him back and he's worth it. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to just have him play center field in a cover 3, maybe it's time to shop him around, because you can get anybody to do that.
I totally agree. I'm a Minka fan, but I think he needs to be more impactful on defense. And with you saying D's him playing 30 yards off the ball, you got to bring him up like Baltimore did with Kyle Hamilton. You got to let him up there and play and let Minka be Minka and quit trying to hold his hands over the fire and make him play center field. You can't do that. He's an impactful player. He'll go to any other team and be successful. So
yeah, but you got to talk to the supreme overlord. Don't live in our fears, coach.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Cameron Hayward, $19.6 million he's making for next year.
I don't extend him.
Do you bring him back or say, can we restructure your contract to go add some pieces to the offense?
Well, what does he have left? Just a 1 year left?
1 year.
I just bring him back on the $19 million and then see what happens after next year. I'm pretty sure he's going to retire after next year.
Here's Dees. What about you?
I think that you sign him to a ghost extension and stretch that money out and make the last 2 years voidable.
There's a
give him one more run, man. Just
now coming up, there's a couple names on this list that I think is expendable and that we can find better routes, or we already have people in place to take over here. Alex Highsmith, who's making $18.6 million. I say you can probably get a high value for him right now in the trade market. I would say you can trade him. Do I want him to be traded? Absolutely not. But I think if you can get a piece offensively or get another draft pick for him and get off that contract, that frees up about $18 million on your salary for this year to add weapons to your offense. You can do it. You also got Cole Holcomb, who's coming back next year at $7.6 million. He's on this list. So out of them two, D's and Chipper, do you see any trade happening with either one of them?
No. I don't, and the reason why is for Holcomb, I don't see anybody taking a chance on a guy coming off of catastrophic knee injury. As far as Highsmith goes, I think his value is only his value to a team like us. I don't see Alex Highsmith, unless he puts on some weight, as a traditional edge rusher for most teams. And I don't see him as a traditional outside linebacker for most teams. Our defensive scheme plays into his size and capabilities. You know, he's almost too small to be an edge rusher, and almost too big to be a true like 4-3 style outside linebacker. So I don't know what his trade value would be to another team as opposed to what it is for us. I might look into trying to kick the can down the road, restructure, stretch some of that money out a little bit. I don't know that Nick Herbig is quite ready for prime time as far as being an every down starter the way Highsmith is. We saw what happened when Highsmith went out. Granted, other injuries took place and it really made that kind of stand out, but I don't know that Herbig is quite ready to be the go-to guy. So I think I ride it out one more year with him.
Chipper,
If you're gonna let Alex Highsmith go, whether it be trade or whatever, you had better draft somebody to replace him or get some to replace him.
you don't think Herbig or Preston Wilson is ready to take that role?
Not Preston Wilson. Hell no.
Or not Preston Wilson. Peyton Wilson.
Peyton Wilson. Yeah. No. Hell no.
No, he's inside backer.
Yeah. Totally.
All right. So next coming up on the list, and I heard that he might be a cut candidate or a trade candidate, Patrick Queen, who's making $17.6 million.
Well, I brought this up at the beginning of the season when we signed him. I mean, was he good because he was Robin to Roquan Smith's Batman, or is he actually that good? Well, seems to be that, yeah, he's Roquan Smith's Robin, so he's not all that good. So
I don't think he's not all that good. I just think our defensive scheme, the way it is constructed right now, is not fitting his needs and his talents. I think that who was their defensive coordinator in Baltimore last year? Wink Martindale, right? Didn't he leave there to go to he left there to go to
Michigan,
mm-hmm. And he was with Harbaugh for 1 year.
Yeah, that's right. He was with
yeah. So he left there. He played great in that system. I'm still excited to have him on the team. He's still young. He can still come into it. Everybody has a bad year. You know, I don't give up on Patrick Queen this soon, but if the Steelers are looking, you know, to give up, he's making $17.6 million. D's, your thought on Patrick Queen?
Yeah, I keep him for a couple of reasons. One, I think you need to get him another stud in front. Larry Ogunjobi is probably going to be a cap casualty. I think if you can get a couple of big uglies up in front of Patrick Queen and free him up a little bit, that's going to help tremendously. I also think that Peyton...
The name up front, not to cut you off, the name up front that has been linked to the Steelers is Javon Hargrave, Gravedigger.
Coming back?
Not against it.
Nope.
Like he knows the system. Is he going to be a game breaker, game changer? No, but he knows the system and he's a decent run stuffer, and that could help free up. The other reason would be Peyton Wilson coming into his second year with a full understanding of this defense. I expect him to take a big leap forward, which could also maybe take a little bit of pressure off of Patrick Queen and maybe turn him more into a Roquan Smith as opposed to, you know, let him be Batman instead of Robin. So yeah, I think you got to at least try and find out one more year if he's going to be the leader that you're paying him to be.
I wish that there was some way that they could figure out to have like you guys we just brought up Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen on the field at the same time, because Peyton Wilson, they drafted him and got him because of his speed, and so he can cover a receiver or tight end.
I think that's
we've been lacking since.
I think that's who's going to be your starters at middle linebacker next year. I think them two.
Yeah. I think Landon, even if they bring him back, he's like the guy you bring in on short yardage and like, you know, first downs against teams that are like us that you can almost guarantee they're going to run on first down. If they bring Landon back, I think that's where he fits this team.
I think they absolutely have to bring Landon back. They have to. I mean, he's happy here. He fits our scheme exactly the way that we need him to do. Like D says, on a short yardage situation, he doesn't complain, and when he's out there, he makes plays. When he's
a hell of a hitter,
he can hit. The other few that are coming up, Preston Smith, who we traded for a bag of chips, $13.4 million. Do you bring him back?
Not at that number. I
don't have him under contract for 2 more years.
Again, I have to rework that deal sign him to extension, stretch that money out. There's value with him because he is a decent pass rusher and he's also solid against the run. He can play down on the line when absolutely needed, and we saw that towards the end of the year. I don't know why he was inactive there at the very end, but at that number, it's going to be very difficult. So I doubt it. But if something could be worked out, I'm not against it.
And you're going to need somebody to take over for Ogunjobi, assuming we're letting Ogunjobi go.
Well, that's coming up here. So then you have about $27 million that you can free up here. Is Larry O coming back? He's making $10.5 million. Is he coming back?
I don't think so. I think he's a definite cap casualty.
Isaac Salamula, he's making $10.1 million. Do you bring him back?
Oh, he's the guard. Wow.
I don't think you bring him back.
He really faded towards the end of the year.
Didn't he come off an injury, and that's why
he started every game.
Okay,
right? He started every game.
No. He missed the first few weeks.
Yeah, which is why they had 3 rookie starters.
Yeah, he missed the first few weeks.
Okay,
he plays right guard, I think.
Okay, so now the next one
Left
we got.
guard.
Okay.
Now the next one we got Cole Holcomb, who's making $7.6 million a year.
Nah, because the way I see our linebacking room right now, he at best is number 4. So no, you can find a guy that you can plug in there in the 4 spot and bring you some special teams plays. So I don't see that happening.
I agree totally with you guys on every one of them, except for the Alex Highsmith. I do think that he's going to be talked about in trade talks this year. I'm hearing a lot of noise coming from Steelers reporters and whatnot that they might want to move on from him because they have Herbig and they have Wilson and they could go get another free agent and whatnot and sign to free up a little bit more money to get some shiny new toys on offense. That's what I'm hearing. Do I want him to go? No, but if you can better your offense by getting rid of Highsmith and sending him to a team that could probably give you a higher draft pick, like maybe a 3rd or a 4th round this year, maybe the Giants, maybe Cleveland, maybe Detroit, because they're going to need defensive players, maybe Jets. I don't know, but
you don't think you can get a second or 3rd for Highsmith?
It depends on what team he goes to. Maybe the Raiders will give you a 2nd round draft pick for him. Maybe, and maybe he could go there and be a stud.
I think a 4th rounder. If you're doing doing it for a 4th rounder, you're settling for a 4th rounder as opposed to pursuing something better like a 2nd or a 3rd.
I would agree on that, but you have to go where the value is. Sure. Like a lesser team like the Raiders or Cleveland or.
Did you just say market value?
Yeah, the word that you like to use. You market value for him out there, but. I don't know. I mean, that's just my thoughts on that. I think that he hasn't been the same player since he's signed his new contract, and I think that we got better, depth now. And you could probably go get. Who I want to go get, and I heard he's a free agent. Is the kid from Minnesota, number 44? What's his name? He's all over the field. He's a young dude. He's 25.
Blankenship?
No, not Blankenship. I just traded for him on Madden. Josh Matthew.
No idea.
He's pretty good, so I would try to go get him. He's a free agent. Sign him. He fits our scheme really well.
What are we, the fucking Jets now? We're going to build our roster based on Madden?
No, like I've watched him all season long too. He's a pretty good player. I think he's better than he moves around a lot on the defensive side. So.
It still goes back to what I said, though. If you're wanting to let go of Alex Highsmith, you had better get somebody to replace him, whether it be in the draft or in free agency.
So that's the list of our salary cap for this year. Any free agents that you guys have your eyes on that you'd like to see in the Steelers uniform for next year? Go ahead, Deez. I'll let you start.
I mean, there's the obvious one, which is T. Higgins. Right. We gotta. I don't think we're going to land him, but you have to take a swing. You have to take a big swing at him. You have to go out and you definitely got to get a receiver, and you need to make as big a splash as possible because the next words out of my mouth may not be popular, not only in this room, but for anybody listening. I don't see a world where George Pickens can be a Pittsburgh Steeler next year.
You don't think so?
Correct.
No, I don't. There's so many factors there. Obviously, there's some behavioral issues there. He's coming into a contract year, and people are like, "Well, you got to just play him, and then you let him go." Apparently, those people did not watch anything in the last couple of years, i.e., with Deontay Johnson and whatnot. I don't see any way that George Pickens comes back and plays next year on his current deal. I think he's going to do the quote hold in. I just don't think it's worth the headache. I think you have to get the value that you can for him right now, which with every story that breaks and to the people that are breaking these stories about him being late and having problems in the locker room or whatever, fuck you for opening your mouth, because all you're doing is hurting the Steelers' chance of trading him for value.
How half hour late to games and practices. What the fuck?
All right. So on that note, I got a list of free agency wide receivers, one through 10.
That's what I got here. So
okay. So
number one, obviously, is T. Higgins. Obviously, he's the guy that everybody's going to try to go for. There, number two, on this list that I have. How about Chris Godwin? Now, granted, he's coming off of an injury, but does he intrigue you as far as free agent wide receiver?
We are talking about the Chris Godwin that played in
Tampa Bay.
Yes,
absolutely. If T is a definite no, Godwin is my number 2 choice to go after, because he is a baller.
How about Hollywood Brown?
Depends on the price, his asking price. I have never seen anything from Hollywood Brown that tells me he's a top tier number 1. Not once.
Now listen, the next guy on this list, Chipper, I think you got the same list as me. I would love to have him for his veteran leadership if you can get him at a cheap price.
You talking about Keenan Allen?
Amari Cooper.
For the right price, absolutely.
I wouldn't mind Amari Cooper. No, I wouldn't mind him at all.
If you can get him and him come in and maybe possibly be your second wide receiver at a $10 million, $11 million a year deal for 1 year, I'm fine with that. Take that and run to the bank right now.
Yeah, I would say the same thing about somebody like D-Hop. I would take D-Hop as a 2 right now.
He's on this list.
I would look into making a trade for Davante Adams.
And Davante Adams did say that he'd like to play for Mike Tomlin. So
I'll trade Davante for George, even maybe throw in a third.
Really?
And send him to New York. Yes, the head, just to be rid of the headache.
You would trade Deontay, or hold on, Adams for Pickens, even up.
Well, throw in a third. Throw me a third.
So Davante Adams in a third for George?
Yep.
So then your wide receiver room would be essentially it'd be Adams, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, maybe Ben Skoranek.
Provided Roman Wilson actually gets on the field.
You're definitely getting a rookie in the first 3 rounds.
Go get me a Mecca Buka then if you're getting Adams.
Yeah,
if you're getting Adams, go get me a Mecca Buka and I'm good.
And then you're also probably going to get one of the mid-tier free agent wideouts out there that can give you production. That room, look, the room you just named off there with the rookie and Roman Wilson and Davante is better than anything we put on the fucking field this year.
True.
Okay, would you take a flyer on Keenan Allen?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know that Chicago will let him go.
He's a free agent.
He's a free agent.
Doesn't matter. I'm saying that I don't see how they let him go and not re-sign him. I don't know.
Well, they got Roma Duze, who
that's right. They get Roma Duze and Mooney. I forgot.
The next couple guys coming up on this list, we agreed that we take DeAndre Hopkins, right? If the opportunity
for the right price. Yep.
What about Josh Palmer?
Who?
Josh Palmer from
Chargers.
I can honestly say I don't know fuck all about him.
Okay, what about Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, for the right price again.
Here's Here's a name that might be on there. He's ninth on this list. The former Steeler, the former Raven, the former Texan. Now back to the Raven. Would you
Now
take
back to former Raven?
Yeah. Now would you take another flyer on Deontay if you can get him on a 1-year deal?
Look, the motherfucker's been on 4 teams in a calendar year for a reason. No. Like vet minimum, maybe. But I mean, if he doesn't tie his shoelaces the way he's supposed to, I cut him.
Okay. What about Elijah Moore?
No.
Again, if you get him very, very low number,
I think that he can come in
for
and
depth.
do. I think he can come in and do what you said. If you can get him on a Van Johnson deal or a Van Jefferson deal for 1 year, and he gives you almost the same production as he
Not
can.
the Van Jefferson playing time.
Yeah, not the Van Jefferson playing time. Absolutely not. And I think the only reason why he had that much playing time is because Roman Wilson wasn't there. They didn't know what they were going to do with the second wide receiver. Khan dropped the ball on that and whatnot. They also got cut candidates on here: Devontae Adams, Christian Kirk, Deebo Samuel, Tyler Lockett, Alan Lazard, Kendrick Bourne. You want any of them guys? We all said yes about.
I'd take any of those fucking guys.
Okay, trade candidates: Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, and Treylon Burks. I like the Burks kid from
Tennessee.
Yeah, I like that kid.
Depending on the price, the first few names that you mentioned, probably not, because the asking price is going to be too high.
DK's going to want a boatload of money.
Yeah, it all depends on what kind of contract you're taking on and what they want in return.
Even though DK's on the backside of his career, but he's still going to want a boatload of money.
We're not going to we're not trying to upgrade our tight end position, are we? Because there's
no.
Okay, so yeah.
First of all, you got Washington on a rookie deal still, and you just extend it for moves, so.
You need to upgrade it, but you know how to upgrade it? You fucking use them.
All right, so a list of free agent running backs. Aaron Jones is ranked number 1. Would you take a flyer on him? He's 31 years old. He has the second most yards.
He's at Minnesota now.
He had 1,500 yards this year. He's a free agent.
I mean, you're talking about all these free agents, and we're also talking about how much money it's going to cost to
get
them.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, obviously, sure.
Yeah, if the money's right and we have it to spend, I'm not going to say no, but am I making him my priority in the free agent market? No.
Here's one on this list, 2 on this list that I think that we could possibly get at a cheap deal. Rico Dowdell
from Dallas.
He killed us last year.
Again, dirt cheap. Yeah.
I don't see Dallas bringing him back, because all the mock drafts that I see so far have Dallas taking that Gene T from Boise State.
I also see them signing Najee Harris, is what I heard. Dallas. Here's one that I'd like to see in a Steelers uniform: J.K. Dobbins. You could probably get him on a 1-year deal.
I've always liked J.K. Dobbins.
I like J.K. Dobbins. The problem is you see him fucking street clothes more than you see him in uniform.
Yeah.
His entire career, he
Najee
just
Harris
hurt.
is 4th on this list. Would you bring Najee back for the right price?
Yes, for the right price, yes, I would.
Cam Akers.
Cheap.
Javonte Williams.
Denver?
Yeah.
Again, if you get him the right price and you're pairing him with a Jalen Warren, yeah.
Khalil Herbert. He kind of lost his moxie when he went to
Chicago?
No, not Chicago. Cincinnati, because they got Chase Brown over there. He probably won't be back. Ty Johnson.
No idea who that is.
From Buffalo.
You could probably get him pretty damn cheap. So, I mean, yeah, I'd kick the tires on it.
What about Kareem Hunt?
Sure.
Would you take Kareem Hunt?
Faded down the stretch, but again, if you get him vet minimum or not much more than that as a potential backup rotational guy, not opposed to it.
I never understood why the team from Huntington Bankfield never re-signed him. I just don't get that.
Don't know. Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Vet minimum at best for a body.
All right, here's cut candidates: Austin Eckler, Devin Singletary, Antonio Gibson, Zach Morris, Raheem Mostert, Zamir White, Ty Chandler, and Miles Sanders. You guys want any of them?
None of them really move the bar for me.
Trade candidates: Brees Hall or Travis Etienne. I like the Etienne.
I wanted him over Najee.
Najee?
Yeah, if you remember when we were at the bar, I said I wanted Travis Etienne. I didn't want Najee Harris.
Yeah, probably not. Just for the simple fact that you're giving up capital for them, and the running back draft class is so good that I'm not giving up any picks, even if they're late rounders. I'm not giving up draft capital. There's too many of those guys in the draft this year.
I think when it comes to free agency, that running back should not necessarily be the top 2 or 3 of our list, because, like you said, the running backs in the draft this year are plentiful.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question. So NFL free agent edge rushers. Okay, top 6 they have here. Josh Sweat, he's probably out of our league. He's probably going to get paid. Would you guys get him if you can?
Josh Sweat?
Yeah. From Philadelphia.
That's not Montez Sweat?
It says Josh Sweat right here from Philly.
I'm not familiar with Josh Sweat.
Okay. Right there. All right. They might have his name wrong on here, but would you take? Well, he's probably going to get a big deal. What about Khalil Mack? He's 34 years old.
No, I'll just answer all of them no, for the simple fact that we've dumped all this money into our defense and got the result that we got. So I'm not going to spend big on somebody that can come in and do what we have on the field already. Like, there's nobody on that list to me that is better than the pair when healthy that we currently have.
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to go to defensive tackle real quick. Milton Williams.
No idea who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
Okay, Javon Hargraves. He had 7 sacks this year in 3 straight seasons.
We said yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love
Javon Kinlaw from the 49ers. He's 27 years old.
Compared to what we have right now, yes. Again, price dependent. Like, am I breaking the bank? No, but
would you bring Robert Spillane back on a cheap deal?
For what?
I'm just asking.
We don't know. No, because
there's no spot for him.
Yeah. All right, so your free safeties. Justin Reed is your number 1 on the list. Would you bring him? Look at him.
Only if they're going to get rid of Minka. I like where we're at with Dante and Minka right now. I'd like Minka's number to somehow change, and his on-field responsibilities.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, I like our safeties as they are right now.
All right. What about our cornerbacks here? You got Carlton Davis from the Lions.
No.
I mean,
DJ Reed from the Jets.
When it comes to cornerback, JPJ is going to be the number 1.
You got to have a number 2.
So we're looking for a number 2 and then some depth. So
what about Mike Hilton? Would you bring Mike Hilton back? 31 years old.
He really, I don't think so. I like Beanie in that slot.
Yep.
I think he could really have a big year next year. Now that, Cam will probably be gone, and much to your fucking dismay, I'm okay with a rookie coming in and competing with Corey Trice and maybe even having Dante Jackson still here.
Sure. I don't mind. Hey, I just want to see Corey Trice after he's had a full season under his belt.
Yeah.
He actually is. He unfortunately had.
Yeah, I need to see a big leap from Corey next year, but I'm not giving up on him.
Nope.
But I'm still drafting a corner in my top 3 picks. No doubt about it.
All right, so there you have it for this episode of Steel City Renegades. We talked about some free agency. What do you guys want to talk about next week? We'll, you know what we can do for next week? Put together a list of your top 10 free agents that you think that we can sign offensively or defensively, and 5 players or 10 players who you think we should cut.
10.
Okay, so we'll go 5 5 who we can get and 5 who we can cut. You guys like that?
Sure.
All right, so
Just
5
trade, cut or trade.
either or, however you
Just
slice
get
it.
them the fuck out of town.
Yes, just get them the fuck out of town and bring them the fucking town.
Yeah.
I'm guessing George Pickens is at the top of D's list of getting them the fuck out of here.
Him or Russell Wilson.
Russ is probably number one, but and it's not that I hate George and he's got to get out of town. I just don't see a happy ending here.
Right.
You know, it's just the talent is off the charts, but so is the mental illness or whatever it is, and I think he's going to be more headache to keep than he is to get rid of.
It's amazing all the stories that have come out about him, about, you know, when they drafted him, about all the red flags, and one team had him as radioactive, and other teams had a bunch of red flags at him, saying no, don't, this and that. And Mike Tomlin went against everybody, said, nope, F you, I'm taking him anyway. And see where that got us.
Where did that get us, really? You probably get good trade value for him.
You could, and that's why I think that they have to get rid of him this year before he completely implodes, and we either sign him to a big deal and then he does what we think he's going to do and you lose your ass because you can't trade him, or you don't sign him and he holds out and the other teams hold us hostage and we have to give him up for peanuts. You got to trade him like ASAP, get him out, wash your hands, start over, I think is the only viable solution.
All right, D's, we appreciate your time. So next week, we're going to give our 5 wish list, who we want gone, and our 5 wish list of who we'd like to see come to Pittsburgh. So for Chipper, for D's, we're out until next week. You guys have a good rest of your week, and go who's ever left in the
Philadelphia.
playoffs. No, go Rams.
Go
Rams.
Bills and Rams at this point.
All right, guys, have a good rest of your week.
See you, boys.